The first North Korea-U.S. summit 1 year on. There have been plenty of positive developments since then, such as North Korea ending its nuclear and long-range missile testing. Now, South Korea and the U.S. have also sharply wound down their joint military drills, but the positive atmosphere sizzled out somewhat after the failed Hanoi summit in February. Our Lee Ji-won spoke to some experts to see how they try and rekindle the talks.
Since the Hanoi summit fallout, the U.S. has been actively indicating its willingness to resume talks with North Korea. However, pundits have pointed out that Pyongyang is choosing not to respond, neither to Seoul or Washington's request for talks. Thus, the regime seemingly has the key to break the current impasse.
I would say that the breakthrough will come when Kim Jong-un truly decides to denuclearize and show some concrete actions. If the North continues to remain firm in its stance to only give up a part of its nuclear program, talks won't resume anytime soon, and even if they do, they won't lead to any kind of agreement.
But other experts, more lenient with Pyongyang's attitude, do not agree.
In negotiations, when the weaker side bends in, it's called surrendering. But when the stronger side is, it's called embracing. So it'll be easier to solve this impasse if the US shows more flexibility in regards to the North's request, which has been, since the Hanoi summit, a guarantee to its sovereign safety. In that sense, the US could choose to set up a joint liaison office or even declare a peace treaty.
While some experts said that both sides need to yield, one expert was very skeptical about these talks resuming and coming down to a deal.
After the propaganda on dealing with the U.S., it will be difficult for Kim to yield first. Such move could be interpreted by North Koreans as the supreme leader admitting to having made a mistake. That is unacceptable. But the same goes for U.S. President Trump. After all the criticism on their previous administrations over their North Korea policies, it will be hard for him to reward the North Korea without any concrete denuke measures.
The expert added that a vicious cycle of provocation, tension, negotiation, and cooling has been on repeat for 30 years, and that this time is actually no different from the past. Although experts differed in their approach regarding breakthrough, many were hopeful that the Moon-Trump summit slated for the end of the month could become a turning point.
There won't be any new messages coming out from the summit, but U.S. President Trump will likely continue to relay his friendly messages towards Kim Jong-un, and I think it'll be a good opportunity for him to come back to the negotiation table.
And while experts agree that there is not much that South Korea can do at this point, Professor Yang says Seoul should continue to play the role of mediator.
Both sides are firm in their stances, and yielding in first could be thought as a show of weakness, which would further stop them from actually giving in first. Thus, Seoul needs to maintain talks with both sides and urging them to yield.
Research fellow Chon, on the other hand, says that Seoul should not try to understand the regime when holding talks, but show what an isolated world it is living in and persuade it to change. Lee Ji-won, Arirang News.